Welcome, everyone. This is Robot-Skeleton, and for my very first discussion video on this channel, I just want to talk about something, that's been bothering me ever since I first saw it, you know, the Defiler's bot design. To put it bluntly, I just don't like it at all. Out of all the bosses in the game, the Defiler feels the most disconnected, and that really bothered me because the character behind her, Isolde, is an amazing character. The Defiler's design, just doesn't feel like it belongs to Isolde at all. In this video, I'll break down why the Defiler doesn't work and compare it to other ethereal transformations like Beringer, Pompey, and even the Miasmic Fiend. First problem, no connection to Isolde. The biggest issue here is that the Defiler barely resembles Isolde. When a human becomes an ethereal, you expect to see some traces of who they were before. But in this case, it's almost like they threw that out of the window. Let's go piece by piece. Isolde's weapon are a sword and a gun. The Defiler, a halberd, completely unrelated. Isolde's hair is green. The Defiler's hair is completely white. Isolde doesn't wear a hat, yet the Defiler suddenly has this random hat thrown under the design. There's no visual callback, no motive carried over, nothing that tells you that yes, this is Isolde. Now, when you look at Pompey, basically his corrupted form is basically Pompey with the darker and more twisted flair. He still wields his sword, he still has his motorcycle. Even the motifs stay consistent. Now, Bringer on the other hand, his superior form makes sense in this context of the story. He literally injects himself with a vial that contains traces of Miyabi's cursed blade. That explains why his corrupted form wields a sword, and his design incorporates elements tied to him, like his vest. It's not random, the transformation reflects his appearance and what happened to the story. But with the Defiler, that connection is just gone. It feels like an entirely separate character. It does not feel Isolde's at all. Second problem. The design logic is off. My next issue is how the Defiler looks compared to the established rules of ethereal design. Why does she have the human skin? Neither Pompey nor Bringer had it. Both leaned into the corrupted and monstrous aesthetic, but the Defiler looks more like a giant human woman than someone who underwent a supernatural transformation. That completely breaks the visual consistency of the Ethereals. Third problem. Now, we will compare Isolde to another gun boss in the game, which is the Miasmic Fiend. So, if you compare the Defiler to Miasmic Fiend, the gap in design quality becomes really obvious. The Miasmic Fiend has a very sexy design, yes, but despite that, she doesn't feel human. Her features are corrupted enough that she doesn't just look like a person. She doesn't keep her normal human skin, but she still resembles the human she came from. You can tell that the designers put effort into making this Goombas. That's how Ethereal should look. Still recognizable but twisted. The Defiler doesn't achieve that. He looks more like a new character that has no history or connection to Isolde. Closing thoughts. Now, I know some people will argue that Isolde became an Ethereal in a different way compared to Pompey or Bringer. And sure, that could be a lore-based explanation, but even if that's true, it doesn't excuse the lack of design consistency. The designers could have taken inspiration from Isolde's original look, her weapons, her motifs, and even the small details like her hair color, to make the Defiler feel like an extension of Isolde. Instead, it feels like two completely different characters. Honestly, it feels like the Divider's design was made for another character entirely, and at the last minute they slapped this boss design to Isolde. Or maybe there are two different teams that designed these characters separately without ever talking to each other. Either way, the end result is disappointing. This matters to me because what I love about ZZZ isn't just the gameplay, it's the aesthetic. It's the care that goes into character design. That's why even though I don't usually enjoy gacha games, this one hooked me. But with the Defiler, that consistency I love isn't just there. So while some players worry about HP inflation or mechanics, what I worry about is this. keeping the design language tight, coherent, and respectful to the characters. The Defiler's design doesn't feel like Isolde. It feels like a missed opportunity. But that's just my take. What do you guys think? Do you agree that the Defiler doesn't feel Isolde at all? Or do you think the design worked in its own way? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this discussion, kindly like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.